Who killed masculinity in video games? I'll tell you who killed it. Blizzard. Oh my god.
Does anybody else feel like masculinity has slowly been drained from modern video games?
Yeah,
I was looking at recent staff photos of Ubisoft and Halo Infinite developers, and it's all starting to make sense. It's a bunch of fat, white, liberal women. And white, liberal women have no interest in masculine, manly, male characters. They wouldn't even know how to write one if they tried. This is why Rockstar, a company founded by men that at least in 2018 was still mostly run by men.
I have a good counterpoint to this, is that Shadowbringers was written by a woman. So I actually don't think that it's entirely because of, it's not entirely because of women. I think it's like a cultural thing. Yeah, From Software as well. Yeah, it's an exception. It is an exception. I think so. And it makes sense, right? That men would be able to write better stories for other men. Yeah, wow. What? Who could have thought?
Created the magnum opus Red Dead Redemption 2, a game with a manly, well-written main protagonist, Arthur Morgan. If you want to see the seismic shift away from masculine characters, honestly, all you need to do is play a few games from 2006, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
Gears of War.
Consider how many masculine military games came out in the 2000s.
Absolutely.
Medal of Honor, Call of Duty, Brothers in Arms, Gears of War, Operation Flashpoint.
This is what it was all about, bro. Like, I feel like a lot of y'all probably played at least 2 or 3 of these, right?
All of these games were starring men and had themes like brotherhood, duty, sacrifice, honor.
So the reason why Tyrion Fordring left the Silver Hand and was in exile is because whenever he was in captivity, he made a pact with an orc named Etrig. And whenever Etrig was captured during the burning of Strathlome, Tyrion helped him escape, and they escaped together because his bond and his loyalty to a man who had helped him escape and be, be free, I guess, was more important than any sort of organization at all. The honor of it was more important than the organization, and Tyrion chose that over it.
Almost all of these franchises have either been killed off, turned into multiplayer games, or went woke. I often wonder why so few modern games appeal to me, and I think another big reason is this. Everything is just so gay now. Compare the games I just mentioned to the modern trash we have to deal with in Overwatch and Apex. Almost every character in these new games is either gay, lesbian, bisexual, trans, or something else.
I think this is an issue, but it's not probably as big of an issue. What is an issue is the fact that they try to like ride off of it. Like, for example, like with Concord or like with Overwatch. I think that's the issue, is that in a lot of times they had characters that were gay or they had some sort of other type of orientation, but they didn't use those characters as a mascot to virtue signal that they care about these types of issues. I think the problem that people really have is actually not with any character's orientation. I don't think anybody really cares about this character because he's gonna be talking about this, and I guarantee you're not going to be seeing a slide of Dion from Final Fantasy 16. You're not going to see that. No, you know why? It's because the character wasn't created in a cynical, performative way. And also, like, this is another big issue, and I think you can see this with Suicide Squad. They completely caricature people that are LGBT. It's not like this character is LGBT, and this is like an after the fact. Like, Soldier 76, I thought was good. It's like, yeah, by the way, he's gay. Okay, yeah, fine. Doesn't really have anything to do with it, but yeah, sure. But, like, the issue is that they try to use these characters as mascots to promote their own virtue. And I think that a lot of people can perceive that. I know that I perceive that. And I find it to be incredibly obnoxious.
What happened to a masculine dude with a hot chick on his arm? I love the idea of Xbox Game Pass, but I swear every time I open it up and look for new games, there's just so many games that look gay now. I refuse to play another cutesy 2D platformer or a game with a cutesy art style by some indie developer anymore. Oh, God. I'm just done with these games.
Bro, this guy is fucking cooking.
If you want Gears my 100% real thoughts on this, I just think the entire video game industry has gone woke and gay, and almost nothing they are making appeals to me in any way anymore.
The best part about this is he clearly cut the audio because he was clearly going on a rant about this. And it's like, okay, cut, let's just keep going. Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily about it being gay. I think it's about the performative nature of it. Because if you go back, you'll probably see a lot of instances where like diversity or, you know, a strong female character like Cortana is a great example. Like Cortana, nobody ever thought about Cortana as like, oh yeah, we have to have a woman in like the story for Halo. People just liked Cortana because she was part of the story. And so it's the issue that, and I think this is a big problem with Western developers, because you can see this, like Eastern developers never have this criticism. It's always Western developers. And I think that also, like, the reason why it happens is because people perceive the way that they behave as inauthentic. And I'll give you an example of a difference in, like, a Western development game. Baldur's Gate 3. You can change, you can have a dick, you cannot have a dick. You can have whatever you want and look however you want. You can have sex with any character and nobody ever cares about it because the game is seen as an authentic work of art. Whereas when you look at the Assassin's Creed game, it does not seem like it's authentic. It seems like it's performative. It seems like it's made with the intention of like, look at us. We are this like, you know, forward-thinking group of people. That's what the issue is, right?
So this is why I mostly play 20-year-old games on my channel, because they were just better. I was recently reading an insider interview about what went down at Volition Studios with the disastrous Saints Row reboot from an inside source.
It's like, here's the truth. Nobody wants to look like this in real life, hardly ever. This dude, you know who this dude goes? He goes, and you know what game he plays? Doom. He's gonna go and play fucking Halo. Nobody wants to look like this. Like with the bow tie and everything, like Bill Nye, the science guy. This is not like, a guy's not gonna see this and be like, oh, that's me. Absolutely not. Now, are there some people that do? Yeah, for sure. But not really. Get the shit out of here. Yeah, bro. Like, it feels like it's so safe.
This source said that the LGBTQ community within the company was actually pretty small, but they are the loudest and the most annoying, and the company leadership chose to promote these people into key roles. And that's how you get the absolute dumpster fire of a game that was Saints Row 2022.
Yeah.
I think what you have at a lot of these game studios is about 80% of the staff is probably just hetero dudes trying to do their job, but they're afraid of speaking up or saying what they actually think.
I think this is changing a lot on social media. So, like, for a while, this was true. And I think that, like, when Elon bought social media, the ability to create a narrative like this definitely went away. Or it didn't necessarily go away, but it was, like, dramatically nerfed. What ended up happening is that being accused of being the wrong thing, like, oh, you're sexist, oh, you just hate, you know, whatever, like, the effectiveness of that has gone down because there have been so many false accusations for this. Or, like, just basically, like, if you're one of them, you're all of them. Exactly. That's what it is.
And then you have the LGBTQ folks making decisions about what kind of game to make. And everything just ends up being safe and soft and sensitive because, oh, we can't hurt anybody's feelings.
Yeah.
So, of course, you get these shitty dumpster fire video games that nobody wants to play. After reading a lot of insider interviews at these developers, this is my sense of what has been happening. I also feel like there's this kind of unholy alliance right now between games journalists, white liberal women at game studios, and the LGBTQ community at game studios.
Oh, God. I do think that there definitely is like a certain sense of like, what's the word is for it? Like shared goals that the games journalists sometimes feel like they're running PR for game studios.
They actually hate gamers.
By the way, I think for a lot of Western studios, this is true.
And who are gamers? Overwhelmingly, well, heterosexual dudes like us, of course.
Yes. This, you know what this is right here? This is a Call of Duty squad meeting up for the first time, probably. That's what it is right there.
This recent Reddit thread was written by an actual game developer and made me realize this. It reads, headline,
"Am I allowed to say this? I kind of hate gamers. I'm a professional game designer, and I'm worried that I'm starting to hate gamers. Watching the gaming events on YouTube last month with the chat on was extremely disheartening experience. Every time a character that wasn't a cis-het white man appeared on screen, the chats would fill with messages calling the game woke or complaining about DEI.
And the problem is that he's kind of right, but he doesn't understand why it's like this. He views it as in like the people that are responding this way, they're wrong, but you never think to yourself, why are they wrong? Why do they think this? Because, like, that's the real truth, is that you don't really hear opinions like this. Like, this guy is obviously, bro, this guy doesn't give a fuck. But like, you're not going to hear a lot of other people. And this is the reason why I get a lot of hate, is because I'll watch a video like this. I'll see what it says, right? For sure. But other people don't want to talk about it. They don't want to challenge this kind of stuff because they don't want to get in trouble.
Every game that wasn't a shooter or a hyper-casual competitive online game garnered zzz and boring comments. I've seen.
You want to know why they garnered zzz and boring comments? Because they were boring. So here, let me give you guys, this is something people might not know. There is a word that's used, it's cozy. When you hear cozy, I want you to switch that in your mind. Boring. Cozy game, boring game.
People implying that the MC in Fable trailers is ugly because it's a self-insert of some random level designer working at Playground whom they deemed not fuckable enough.
Yeah, people don't want to look at an ugly chick.
I don't know. It's just the internet magnifying negative voices, I guess, doing what it does best. But it's making me real tired of gamers.
So at this point, it seems that games journalists and all of the liberal LGBT mafia that work at game studios actually hate their audience. And this is a comment I keep reading from you guys again and again. I swear they literally hate us. They seem to be dead set on giving their audience exactly what we don't want. How long is your business going to be open if you're dead set on not giving the customer what they want?
Well, in the past year or so, I think that we know exactly the date of what that is. Yeah, great question. I think that we know exactly how long it's going to last. They want to change the customer. And this is the thing, right, is that these are people, like, in a lot of cases, like a lot of these game developers, I mean, these are just random people, right? I mean, some of them are weirdos, some of them are not. But these are people, in a lot of cases, like, you don't want to be, like, talked down to by a person like this. Absolutely not. You're like a 28-year-old software engineer. I don't want you to be telling me what my politics should be. Stop it.
This is why when skanks like Alyssa Mercante are crying about Kotaku shutting down and losing their jobs, and game studios are going under because they were associated with Sweet Baby Inc., I just...
Look where it was from. Oh, yep. r/Asmongold. There we go. Oh, man, there it is. Yep.
I just laugh. Let them burn. Let all these companies burn who don't know how to give the audience. The wonderful irony in all this is that it's the very games that the woke cancel mob has tried to cancel that seem to do the best. Remember Hogwarts Legacy? Yeah, men who dress in women's clothes tried to get it canceled. Instead, the game sold 25 million copies. Oops. Remember how the woke mob tried to accuse FromSoft games of having, quote, problematic depictions of women? Oops. Sold 25 million copies.
Here's another thing about Elden Ring, is that I understand that Queen Marika is not necessarily trans, but for a fantasy story, it's pretty goddamn fucking close, isn't it? It's really fucking close to that. And so, this is like the main character that the entire story is built around. Everybody loves the lore. Nobody's complaining about this. Nobody actually cares.
At this point, making an offensive game seems to guarantee that game's success. We could talk about Stellar Blade, pissing off all of the liberal progressives, and yet everybody went out and bought it. Okay, so in the rest of this video, I want to give you 4 examples of a game or game series going from masculine to feminine or gay, and it basically either killed or ruined the franchise. Number 1, Ubisoft and Red Storm Entertainment. So Red Storm Entertainment was a video game company founded by the legendary Tom Clancy to make Tom Clancy video games. He sold the company to Ubisoft in the year 2000, and Ubisoft in the 2000s actually had some balls and made some of the manliest games you've ever seen. The Ghost Recon games, the Rainbow Six games, and the Far Cry games. All of these games pretty much feature exclusively men, and these IPs in the 2000s had so much testosterone, just a single glance from a woman in their direction would get her pregnant. I mean, motherfucking Sam Fisher.
The games were way more masculine back then. This is absolutely true. Yeah, they were guy games made for guys. Absolutely. It's not even a question.
The dude is the ultimate Giga Chad. Scott Mitchell in Ghost Recon. Now, you pick your own character in Far Cry 2, but it's definitely a manly game that will put hair on your chest. So what is Red Storm Entertainment up to today? Well, I recently saw that Tom Clancy's The Division Heartland is being led by a man who dresses in women's clothes in his free time. Now, look, I don't give a shit if you want to identify as a dragon and go around laying magic eggs, but can we agree that the least masculine thing on earth you can do is dress in women's clothes?
I really don't give a fuck about that, to be honest with you. I don't care. Like, what you want to do with your personal life is up to you. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Just don't put your worldview into a game in a way that's not representative. That's the way I see it. Like, there's plenty of people that are probably weird that make plenty of great games.
Tom Clancy would be rolling over in his grave right now if he knew the absolute disaster that Red Storm Entertainment had become. Number 2, Wolfenstein. So I was recently playing Wolfenstein The New Order for the first time, which came out in 2014. And I have to say, of all the games I was sure were going to avoid woke Western progressivism, this game was pretty high up there. The first 3 entries of the reboot were all fantastic. They had the badass BJ Blazkowicz, an absolute unit, as the main character, ripping apart entire armies of Nazis with the sexy and smart Anya as his arm candy and wife. They have normal men and women doing normal shit in them. Awesome.
Okay.
But of course, the woke mob had to get involved somehow. So you have a beloved series with a beloved, tough, male, manly main character. Do you suppose it's a good idea to kill off that guy and replace him with cringy girl boss characters?
Oh, God.
Wolfenstein Youngblood came out in 2019, and it's an absolute tone-deaf disaster. So many modern video games, I find myself asking, who wanted this?
Oh,
who
my
asked
God,
for that?
bro. This shit drives me crazy. Like, not even the girls wanted this? Yeah, this is the thing. Is like, guys don't want to play, like, they don't want to play as a girl in, like, a fucking war game, really. Like, unless it's something like Stellar Blade. Like, if you're making a game for an audience of guys, you've got to make it appeal to that audience. Like, you can't make a game that, like, you go and kill zombies and, like, Nazis and shit, and then just change everything and make it appeal to women. That's not the way it works. Like, I'm sorry, it does not work.
I often ask the same thing of the new Star Wars shows by Kathleen Kennedy as well. The Wolfenstein reboot had the perfect synergy of story and gameplay. You are BJ Blazkowicz, unleashing his rage on the Nazis for killing everyone he loved. You see this come across in his brutal assassinations, like sticking a rusty pipe through the eye socket of an SS Waffen commander. But the setup to Wolfenstein Youngblood is incredibly cringe. In it, you play as BJ's daughters, and they're honestly nothing like him.
Jesus, are you kidding me? Wow. Who asked for this, man? I think I slightly disagree. I think you should still make it appeal to men, but I think having a female lead could still work. But why would you do it? But why? Like, it does matter. Like, I'm sorry, guys, it matters.
And when they finally kill the guy, they have to have lattes and talk about it afterwards. Youngblood is a perfect example of how a cutscene can go so wrong in a game. BJ's setup is perfect and explains to you why you're doing the actions you're doing. BJ's daughters, however, are acting like they're in an episode of Big Bang Theory the whole time, but oh yeah, they just happen to be killing Nazis, and haha, isn't this so funny? And just so full of cringy and awful cinematics.
Yep.
Which is ironic because the cinematics in the first 3 games were like so good and short, and they got to the point, and they were really emotional and impactful. Example number 3, Gears of War.
Who do you think was playing Gears of War? You want to know, all my friends that I knew that were playing Gears of War, the coolest thing to them was like the Marines. You know, like, yeah, bro, like you go into Marines and you learn how to shoot a rifle, right? It's like, yeah, that's what it is. It's all guys. Like, I remember back growing up, like, I didn't know a single girl that liked fucking Gears of War. Not a single one.
The first 3 Gears games are an incredible trilogy focusing on the bonds and brotherhood between men. They're incredibly masculine games, focusing on duty and sacrifice and military orders. And I know some of you hate this, but for 10,000 years, it's only been men fighting wars. Sorry.
It pretty much still is. Let's be honest.
The first 3 games focus on Marcus, Dom, Cole, and Baird and tell a masculine story of brotherhood. Well, the progressive woke mob somehow got to Gears of War, and Gears 4 and 5 are about sisterhood, motherhood, being a traitor, and what it feels like to be a woman.
So, like, that's a story that, like I don't really give a shit that much about that. Because, like, I can't really relate to that, and I don't really care. Like, I want to play as, like, Marcus or Dom or Coltrane and kill these dudes, right? Like, that's what I want to do. Yeah, and it does matter, by the way. It absolutely does matter. Let the market decide. They did. To be fair, the brother thing was tiring. Really? Oh, wow. It's so tiring. No, it's not. How many fucking, what's the game? Or the movie? Fast and Furious. How many of them have they made? 100. They'll say that's misogynistic? Oh, to a certain degree, I'm sure it is. But at the end of the day, if you're a guy, it's going to be easier for you to relate to a guy. You're going to understand a guy's struggles more. You're going to be able to, you know, like just identify with them much more. That's just the way it is. Family. Yeah, exactly. These people, they think like, yeah, we made 3 video games. So like, you know that story of like the Odyssey and like all those, yeah, bro, it was played out. No, it wasn't. It's never going to be played out. Keep doing it.
Introduce the character of Kate Diaz, who I don't think anybody gives a single fuck about. What they should have done is put Kate in a spin-off game, not a mainline Gears entry. But here's the problem, of course. Nobody would have bought it.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, Gears 4 and 5 are basically girl boss, feminist Gears of War.
The last one I played was 3.
Any masculine story about men is put on the back burner.
I barely even played 3. I played 1 and 2 a lot.
Of course, the games include Baird and Marcus in them, but they're really on the back burner. And Gears is now about Kate Diaz, who I've never talked to a Gears fan even cares about.
Yeah.
Moving on, example number 4,
World of Warcraft,
Saints Row
please.
reboot.
Oh, no.
Saints Row spent 10 years building up characters.
It's like, I'm sorry, but if you have a guy right here that's looking like Constantine, or like this guy who he's sitting in a fucking, like a king chair, like he's Scarface with sunglasses on, you know, saluting in a fucking suit. You want to know who looks at a cover of a game like this and buys it? I'll tell you who. A 15-year-old guy. They see this right here. They see that right there. A 15-year-old guy. And by the way, 35-year-old guys, in a lot of cases, are still 15-year-old guys. They see, oh, it's badass. Yeah, for sure. It's not like it's that much different.
Building up a very distinctive and edgy and male sense of humor.
Absolutely.
It's the kind of stuff you and the guys would laugh at.
Yeah.
Some of the recurring characters in Saints Row are Johnny Gat, Julius, Aisha, Shondi, and several others. In these games, the men are men and the women are women. Johnny is edgy and hilarious and always has a hot chick on his arm. The humor is crude and hilarious, and the Saints are always getting into trouble. So what went wrong with the reboot? Well, the woke 2022 reboot thought it was a good idea to kill off every single character from the old Saints Row games, and I guess they thought we would be cool with that?
Yeah.
But don't worry, all of the beloved characters you've come to know and love have been replaced with tokenistic characters from a literal seminar on diversity.
And that's the problem right there. It's that it's all caricatures. And that's what I find to be so disrespectful about it, is that the characters have to exist in some sort of oppositional existence of existing type of like gender or like racial stereotypes. It's insulting. Yeah, it is. It's very obnoxious. And again, like I think a lot of the people that do this are the people that, you know, if like they're you know, like driving in like a middle class area of town, they lock their doors, right? It's so performative that it's just, I think it's gross. Honestly, it's very gross.
You've got the gay Asian man, the girl boss lesbian, another girl boss lesbian, and the gay black guy.
And this is like the thing, right? Is that not all gay guys dress and act like this. There's plenty of gay guys that do and plenty that don't. It's not like you can look and inspect somebody and look at them and be like, gay, I know he's gay. That's not how it works. It's a stereotype. Yes, I can. For sure, man.
The LGBTQ mafia didn't just kill Saints Row, they crucified it on a rainbow flag. And this is what you get, guys.
Yeah,
this is what you fuckers get for supporting these people. They turn out shitty games that aren't funny, that aren't cool, that aren't masculine.
That's another big thing. They're not cool and they're not funny. Minus the masculinity. That's something different. They're not cool. That's actually, you know what? The more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm thinking that's the biggest problem. They're not cool. These are people that were losers in high school. They didn't have any fucking friends. And now they go and they write stories about people that are friends, but they don't have any frame of reference for what being friends with somebody is like. So you get shit like this. They're not cool. They're fucking losers.
So stop hiring these people. Game developers need to stop putting gay stuff in games, and they need to fire every liberal white woman if they want us to ever buy a game again. Because I'm serious, we are done with this shit. We're not buying these games. Like, Phil Spencer is out here complaining about how people aren't spending as much money on games anymore. Yeah. I guarantee if you give us hetero dudes hot chicks in games again and manly men, you will see sales go through the roof. Bring back the glory days of video games. I have this theory that in a few years, we're going to see a turn back to the golden era of video games. And
we absolutely will, by the way. If you actually think that any of the executives that work at these companies genuinely care about any sort of group of people other than money, you are very sorely mistaken. It's already starting to happen. Yeah, it's already starting to happen.
People are going to start buying games again. I recently saw this crazy chart from 2023 that basically showed that people are only playing old games these days. Nobody wants to play anything that's new out right now because it's all woke and it all sucks so bad. So anyway, guys, let's all hope there's a return of masculine characters in games again at some point that we can relate to. All right, I'm out.
Yeah, he's right about that. And I've gotten in a lot of trouble over the years of saying that gender is like a huge barrier of relatability that is not overcomable by any sort of real like storytelling. Like, you're not really going to be able to relate to a girl in the same way that you can relate to a guy, because your gender and the way that you grew up as a man or a woman completely shades your entire experience of life. And I think that if you try to ignore that, and that's why, for example, like a lot of streamers on Twitch, very few popular streamers are female. But like on YouTube, there are a lot of popular streamers that are female and content creators. And do you know why? It's because YouTube has a actual like large female audience and Twitch doesn't. You want to know who's most people at Twitch are? Guys. They're mostly guys. And who do guys relate to? They relate to other guys. And you know who the kind of guys they relate to are? The kind of guys that look and act like they do. That's right. You can see, like, it's actually crazy. This guy, bro, this guy just said it. Like, every single thing that you're not supposed to say, he used that as a checklist. Like, he just said it exactly. Yeah, bro just called the industry gay. Oh my god. You know, in Asia, gamers get what they want. Cool dudes and hot chicks. Yeah, exactly. True, nobody cares. People only care when it's done inauthentically. By loser millennials that are boring, insincere, have no sense of creativity, and they can't write a good story for shit, and their parents were right, and you can't write a story about how your parents were wrong and have anybody else care about it except you. I'll be right back.